Alrighty, folks. It seems like people are sort of slow in getting onto the call. We still, besides Chaz and myself, who are on the board, it is only 8 other people. So right now this is a small turnout. Maybe somebody could put out a post to various places, remind people that the call is starting now and that we're going to hold this decision about the dates during this call. So we can get more people on. I was hoping to have at least 15, maybe 20 people on for us to make this decision. Great. Jackie stepped up to do that. And do we have a note taker? Is somebody taking notes tonight? I forget what. I remember somebody said they could. And if you are that person, please press the number 5 just so I know we have our note taker handled. Dallas, great, thanks. And I believe Jackie said she was going to be back up as well. So when she gets through sending that post to the various places, she'll come back and maybe she can spell you a little bit, Dallas. All right. Let me outline a bit about the call. Actually, I meant to come on with a very specific greeting, and I completely forgot, which was good morning, National Gathering Planning Group. And if you know what movie that's a reference to, press the number 2. Just wanted to spark some energy and some humor into the beginning of this call. And I see a bunch of 2s coming in. Everyone knows that about half the people seem to know that's Adrian Cronauer there. Lou, you have your hand up. We're not quite ready for a stack, but if you have something urgent you need to say before we start, please go ahead.
No, it was a mistake.
Okay, great, thanks. Just wanted to make sure. So we'll have our check-ins, followed by report backs, followed by old business, and at the top of the old business is the decision on the dates. And I don't think there's anybody here who hasn't been on a call, so I don't need to go over the hand signals, but I will go ahead and post them to the dashboard. If you will, if you get up on the dashboard, oh, that reminds me. If you go to the reminder email that you got for this call, which came out 2 hours ago and also one yesterday, and you follow the link to the participant dashboard, you'll be able to follow along with the voting. You'll see how many people voted which way, how many people voted that way when we do it. So to try to make this as open and transparent a process as possible, people can kind of look over our shoulder as we're doing this. So to get that link, you go to the reminder email that Maestro sent to you 2 hours before the call or 24 hours before the call, and go from there. So I'm posting the hand signals now to the dashboard. Oh, that didn't work. Hang on a second. One moment. My usual, oh, I see. That was the wrong one. That was an international one, which doesn't help us very much. This is not an international call. Here we go. All right, so in the participant dashboard, if you refresh it, you should see the hand signals there. And they're not showing up in the staff chat, which is very strange. I'm not quite sure. There they are, just sluggish. Okay, so let's do check-ins, and then I'll go over the call agenda with you and see if there's any additions or changes that need to be made, and then we'll hop into the report back. So I'll just start with I'm going to go from the bottom up for a change. That'll leave Chaz and me for the end. So we'll start with Lou. You get to speak again. Let's have a quick 30-second check-in. Let's see your name, which Occupy you're from, and what are you jazzed about in the planning of this at currently. Go ahead, Lou.
I'm Lou. I'm from Occupy Everywhere, I guess. I'm just jazzed to hear what's going on, that's all.
All right, and I just remembered to remind everybody to say check, or I yield, or I'm done, or over, or something. Over is actually not a good one because we don't hear it as well. So something with some consonants, some sharp consonants is better. Thank you, Lou. And next we have Dallas.
Hey, this is Dallas calling in from Brooklyn. I guess I'm a Wave of Action organizer now. Woohoo! Check.
I'm sorry, Dallas, where did you say you were from?
Brooklyn.
Still not getting it for some reason.
Brooklyn, New York. Check.
Brooklyn. Oh, it sounded like Berkeley. Okay, got it. We have a couple of Brooklyn people on the call. Great. Next we'll have Gandalf followed by Lisa. Go ahead, Gandalf.
Hey, good seeing everybody. It's Gandalf checking in.
Hope all is well with everyone. I yield.
All right, thank you. And next we have Lisa, followed by Kathy. Go ahead, Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa with Occupy Sacramento. Check.
Nothing you're particularly jazzed about, eh, Lisa?
Well, we did have our marathon meeting and narrowed the dates down to 2. So I will be especially jazzed after this call, I think. I yield.
So this is a projected jazziness for an hour from now, an hour and a half from now. I got it. All right, thanks, Lisa. And if you're just joining us, we'll have you say your name. We invite you to say your name, which Occupy you're from, and what you're particularly jazzed about at this point in the planning process for the gathering. We're not doing any report backs or announcements at this point. This is just a quick 30-second check-in. Kathy, followed by Jose. Go ahead, Kathy. Kathy, if you're there, we're not hearing you. You may need to unmute your phone. All right, Kathy, we'll come back to you. Jose, followed by Carrie. Go ahead, Jose.
Oh, wait, okay, wait.
Jose, you there? Background noise. All right, come back to you.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, sorry, I came in halfway through. I don't really have anything to say.
Just your name, which Occupy you're from, and what are you jazzed about at this point in the planning process for the gathering?
Oh, well, I'm Jose. I'm not really with any particular group. At the moment, I'm trying to find one that's near me, actually. So I'm trying to make it to the next national gathering.
Okay, I didn't quite get all that. If somebody knew what he just said, press the number 1 for me so I can have you restate it because I had bad connection there. All right, Sally, go ahead. What was he trying to tell us?
Yeah, he said he's not with a particular group. He's trying to find one near him and trying to come to the next national gathering. Check.
Okay, and Jose, where are you that we would know where to find you near? Where are you near?
Well, I live near Chicago. I live in Elgin, near Chicago.
All right, I just realized I was on mute all that time. So if you are in the Chicago area and you know of an Occupy where he can go, put up the number 1, and we'll figure out how to get you guys together to communicate that because I'm sure Occupy Chicago has got to be one of the larger ones. And now we'll hear from Carrie, followed by Jackie.
Aloha, everybody. This is Carrie from Occupy Hilo checking in, and I'm jazzed that there's a new person on the call this week. Check.
Okay, great. Let's hear from Jackie, followed by Jerry.
Hi there, Jackie, Occupy Buffalo and in Iraq, and I'm just jazzed that we're going to have a date and get moving on all the other parts. Check.
All right, thanks, Jackie. And Interact, for those you don't know, is Interoccupy. And Jerry, followed by Nikki. Jerry.
Okay, Jerry Ashton out here in New York City, in and out of various working groups here, everything from Strike Debt through Rolling Jubilee through alt banking. And I'm very excited about the fact that I'll actually have a date to write about because I also I'm a blogger for the Huffington Post and I do a radio show. So I want to start getting out publicity on this.
All right, and what's the radio show you do?
It's called 15 Minutes of Fact, and it's on WGRNradio.com. 15 Minutes of Fact, WGRNradio.com. Check.
Excellent, excellent. All right, and now we have Nikki followed by Sally.
Hi, it's Nikki checking in. Occupy Damsels in Distress, Occupy Coachella Valley, Occupy the High Desert, I don't know, Occupy everywhere, Occupy together, Occupy yourself. Jazzed about. The Inter-Occupy call was really cool earlier this week in the discussion and just the way of motivation for people gathering up energy for that. So I'm real jazzed about that, real jazzed about getting a date and getting a move on. The only thing, I didn't get on the Outreach Mastro call. It wasn't in the emails, so I didn't connect back to that. So if that can, or there's something that we can do about that, I would like to on the Saturday calls. Over.
All right, thanks, Nikki. It's been a while, probably well over a month since we've been on one of these calls. You didn't mention Occupy Palm Springs, if there is one, or Occupy the Opposition, which you used to talk about. Sally, followed by Chaz.
Occupy those as well.
Yes.
Occupy those as well.
All right. Yep, great, thanks. Sally, followed by Chaz.
Sally, Occupy Bergen County. Occupy being really tired today, but I'm here and trying to get jazzed. Check.
All right, and we have Chaz followed by myself. Go ahead, Mr. Chaz.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chaz from Occupy Pittsburgh, and I am jazzed to see a new person on the telephone call, and nice to hear your voice, Jerry, and good job, Dallas, with the World Wide Wave. Check.
All righty, thanks, Chaz. And Chaz, if you notice somebody who gets on the call, because you're better at noticing that new people come on and need to do their introductions than I am if I'm in the middle of a topic. So would you just let me know on the staff chat? That would be great. And I am Cal, and I'm your facilitator for tonight. And I wanted to facilitate this call specifically because of the decision, for two reasons: the decision about the dates, and then secondarily because we're going to have a conversation about speakers and workshops and program. So I was originally from Occupy Oakland, but I divorced them because they didn't ever want to have a real consensus, and I got tired of the way that the facilitators were dominating. But they did do a lot of good things, and some of which I'm bringing into the process that I like to use for the decision making about the dates. So you know, there's good in everything. So I'm jazzed to be here. I'm jazzed to see things are finally starting to come along. It's pretty cool that things are in place. We have 14 people on the call, including Chaz and myself, so we sort of have a critical mass at this point to be able to make a decent decision. All righty. So the hand signals, remember, are 1, to get on the stack when we have a stack, 2, to twinkle up if you agree with something, 3, if to twinkle down if you disagree with something. And I'll just mention that if you agree or disagree with something, unless you need to speak about your disagreement, it's better just to twinkle than to get on the stack and say, yeah, me too, yes, I agree. It's actually, because I'll mention the twinkles as we go, and it will make the call go that much more smoothly. 4 for a direct response, and 5 if you have a technical problem or a point of process that you need to raise. And 6 to mute and unmute yourself, although unless we go into breakouts, which is probably not likely tonight, we will essentially be doing that here at the board. So everybody's muted unless you're speaking at this point. So again, 1 to get on the stack, 2 to twinkle up, 3 to twinkle down, 4 for a direct response, and 5 for a point of process or technical problem. And I misspoke earlier. We had we got twinkles from Nikki on something I just said there. If I misspoke about the note takers, it's actually Sally who's going to be spelling Dallas, not Jackie. So let me go over the agenda real quick, and then we'll go to the report backs, and we'll do report backs and announcements together. So old business, we'll have report backs, and what's on the list is Occupy Sacramento, Outreach/Media, Finance, Tech, and Admin. And a couple of other subgroups are going to be mentioned during the actual body of the business of the call. We have for old business, we have the date decision. We have press release. We have Guidebook Guru, which I'm not quite sure what it is. We have All Streets, and I'm not sure if that's different from the speakers protocol or not. So if it's related to the speakers, it probably should be combined with that item. If it's something different, then it can stand alone. It's its own item. Proposal/vision statement. And then under new business, we have a brainstorm. Who do you want to invite speakers? I'm actually going to switch the order of that around to talk about the speakers protocol. What's the role of the speakers group? How are we actually going to move forward, given that there seem to be a couple of different groups working on this? So I'd like to have that general conversation before we get into any specifics, like who do we want to invite. And then the worldwide wave of action. I don't know if that's the same. Oh, that's the word. It is the same as the wave of action. And then after the new business, there's next steps, which is finance. 3 items under finance. And then checkouts, which somebody suggested, what will you do for this week? So that we actually leave here with some action. And the notes, if you want to get onto the agenda document, it is natgat2014.titanpad.com/4. Just the number 4. So natgat2014.titanpad.com/4. That'll get you onto the agenda document. So, and Lisa also asked about the time change on the proposal, so we should probably stick that somewhere in there to give a report back on where we are with that process. Maybe Daniel will be on the call by then. If not, I can certainly give a report back on where we are with that as well. So let's have report backs. So I'm going to run down the list as they are on here. And if you have a report back or an announcement from Occupy Sacramento, please press the number 1. Report back from Occupy Sacramento. And I'm going to ask you to, if it's anything other than the dates, because let's hold off on anything about the dates until we actually get to that date item. So anything other than dates in the report back. Lisa.
Oh, okay. In addition to dates, we also talked about what sort of themes that we might want to have, and I think Gandalf might be able to fill in more about these. I know, economics was a really, really big theme. Environmentalism was another theme, and I'm drawing a blank on the third theme right now. We also, Delphine checked into camping at Folsom Lake, which is a ways away, but they do have 2 campgrounds that hold 50 each and one that holds 25 each. And the cost looks like it would be very, very minimal. It would be about $4 or $5 a night for each person. So it looks like we are definitely going to be finding some places that we can camp. Stephen Payen found a place in Woodland that is a little bit on the expensive side, though. It would be $1,000 a day, and we could both camp. We could camp there, and we could hold the event there. It's actually an abandoned mall in Woodland. Woodland is about 16 miles away from Sacramento. So that's what, we have a fundraiser. We have a couple people who have volunteered to do a fundraiser from Occupy Sacramento, Delphine and Stephen Payen. So hopefully now we'll have a date, we'll be able to get some money coming in. So that's what I can think. Oh, one last thing is that we are hoping to have a day at the Capitol where we have a really big show of force. That's the California State Capitol, which is in Sacramento. Fortunately, that venue is free, totally free. And we're planning to go there with a list of demands. And there are a lot of different options we could do. We could do a march. We could march through the city of Sacramento. We could go through the financial district. Anyway, so that will definitely incorporate that. And I'm asking Gandalf, I know you're on the call, if I left anything off. I check.
All right, thank you. And Lisa, you got twinkles from Chaz on the fundraiser, and you got twinkles from Nikki on the day at the Capitol. And Sally was on the stack, so I'm going to call on her first, and then I'll call on Gandalf to see if there's anything to mop up with this. Go ahead, Sally.
Yeah, I just want to say there's something pretty cool about repurposing an abandoned mall for an event like this. I don't know whether it's a mean, it's probably too far away and too expensive, but there's something really neat. Check.
Yeah, I mean, do we need to put this on the agenda to talk about this? You got twinkles from Donna and Dallas there on what you said there, Sally. And now I'm going to, if there's anybody, no other one, so I'm going to go call on Gandalf to see if you got anything else to wrap up this report back.
Yeah, greetings, this is Gandalf. We had the retreat on Saturday and spent 7 hours, and we ended up with kind of 72 separate responses in our brainstorm, and then we tried our best to kind of synthesize it into a few major categories. And in the work product I'm working on right now, I was able to break it down into about 7 realms. And I'm not sure how useful it will be to go through all of this. I'm trying to kind of write it up so that we have a presentation. But roughly we had, my dog is going crazy here, Miles. The issues were poverty and inequality, racial oppression, social discrimination, economic and financial and corporate social system, nonviolence, national, international, and personal, unjust judicial system, including police and prisons, ecology, food, land, water, and air, and the last part was mostly different suggestions for the NatGat format and how we would actually run the NatGat itself. And one of the things that I think we more or less decided, or at least strongly suggested, that we use the assembly format in order to kind of set the stage for the conversation, that most of us are comfortable with the General Assembly format, and I think we were talking about whether we should have it on the first day or on the last day or each day, and we hadn't really decided, but I'm kind of for the idea of having a General Assembly every day, if it can be arranged, so that everyone feels part of the process. I yield, unless there's any questions or something. We're still processing all the information we got back at the retreat. I yield.
All righty, thank you there, Gandalf. You got twinkles from Jackie and Sally on some of the pieces of what you said there. And I had a response, and now I don't remember what I wanted to respond to, so I'll have to wait until I remember and bring it back later. So anything else from Occupy Sacramento before we move on to the next report back? Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So Linda Roberts posted an email saying that it was decided that they actually didn't want to hold that much of responsibility for actually operating the gathering and wanted to basically kind of have us set it up, or us and some of the subgroups set it up, and then they would just come and do the things that need to be done. That's my understanding from the report. And so Lisa or Gandalf, you could twinkle if I said that correctly. I just remember reading that off of the email from Linda. All right, there's a one-up from that from Lisa. Go ahead.
You know, this is actually the first I've heard of that from Linda. I know that Charlie Pace posted something like that. That may just be her own personal view. So I check.
Actually, it may not have been she that said it. I'm still trying to find the email where I saw it. It wasn't her.
Yeah, I thought
else.
it was something that Charlie Pace posted.
Okay.
So
I just remember seeing it posted. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that was not a group consensus. Okay.
No.
That's why I wanted to twinkle for it or not for it, because I wasn't sure if I had it right. All right. Great. I won't speak about Occupy Sacramento anymore. I'll refrain from that at this point. Now, the next item is, let me see, anybody else on the board? Gandalf has a 3-up, which means that sounds like you're saying that what I said is not so. So I will withdraw the comment since it doesn't seem to be accurate, and I'll have to go dig up the source of that. Chaz, you're twinkling. It sounds like that correction is good. So since nobody's actually asking to speak again, I will go ahead and move on to the next report back, which is outreach/media. So, and if you have a report back for finance, get yourself ready because you'll be next. So if you're an outreach or media report back person, please press the number 1. Number 1, please, if you have a outreach or media report back. All right, I see Chaz has a report back, and after we get this report back, we have a new caller. I mean, a caller just joined us, so after we get this report back, we'll invite them to check in. Chaz.
Oh, this is just what I know is happening on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. There's a media outreach call on Inter-Occupy Maestro Conference, and I will post that information onto the Titan Pad. So, because I know Nikki had asked about that. So that's what I'm going to do. Check.
All righty. And we have Sally, followed by Nikki, followed by Jose. Go ahead, Sally.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we had been supposed to have a Facebook party on Tuesday, and I totally screwed up. I don't know whether other people got there, but I'm sorry, guys. It's now getting into my brain, and I should be there next week. Check.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. And I just realized that it wasn't Jose, it's Carrie. So it'll be Nikki followed by Carrie. Go ahead, Nikki.
Also get that not just on the Titan Pad in the notes because I don't like to use that. I get confused. If we can get it on Facebook or in the email for outreach, that'd be awesome as well. Thank you. Over.
There's a note here for you, Nikki, that says you can find the sign-up for the media call on the Hub calendar. If you go to the NatGat Hub, you can find the sign-up information there. Check.
What's the NatGat Hub?
Oh, all right. So Jackie, if you had posted the dash from the dashboard, actually you can do this right from the board. Post to the dashboard the link to the Hub. If you're on the
I don't
dashboard,
have that either. I'm strictly on mobile.
Okay, in that case, it's probably
Facebook
post it
awesome.
so I can. So Jackie, I'm going to open up your mic. Just speak it.
I can post it on Facebook too, but it's interoccupy.net/NatGat2014/ And then you find calendar, and the calls are all on there to register for them. I did check, Nikki, and you're not on the call, so I don't know what happened when we switched times or whatever. Check.
All right. Again, that's NatGat. I'm sorry. It's interoccupy.net/NatGat2014. And I don't know whether you have to put the / after it or not. Probably optional. So that's the address of the Hub, and you can find all kinds of stuff there. Great. Twinkles from Nikki for you there, Jackie. And we have next is Carrie, followed by Chaz again. And I think, Sally, your hand's back up again. I'm not sure. Go ahead, Carrie.
Hi. I can do a little report back on the outreach media. I was unfortunately late for the media part of the first hour of the call because I'm still suffering time change, which you all had and I did not. So all these calls are an hour earlier for me now. So I kind of missed that they did talk about the press release and, some of that. And I think that's the reason, too, that we're going to have an extra call this weekend. Normally we've been meeting every other Saturday or every other week, and this week we're adding in Saturday. So we'll be meeting for the next 2 Saturdays. And, yes, please, everybody sign up for the call. It's the same kind of Maestro call we're on now, and you sign up through interoccupy.net. And then the outreach part of the call, we have a list rolling on a Google Doc that is from last year that somebody compiled of all the active occupies. So the outreach part of our working group call was pretty much talking about that and going through that. And then I think it was Sally and Jackie and mostly, and we all came up with a little paragraph that we can use as like an outreach statement. So as we're going through and checking in with all these occupied pages, basically Facebook pages, we now have a little paragraph with contact info that we can post there to invite them to the planning process and basically just announce that this is happening this summer, and try and get some more people involved with the planning and the strategizing and all that. That's what I know about that. Check.
All right, thank you, Carrie. And we have Chaz next.
Just for Nikki, I posted it everywhere, everywhere on Facebook. It's on the media, the outreach, and the planning group now, so you should be able to find it pretty easily. If you don't, we'll get you there somehow. Check.
All right, thanks, Chaz. And Sally, I wasn't sure if I didn't put your hand down. You put it up again?
I may have, but I didn't need to. Just go on.
All right, great. So it seems like we're winding down that report back. Last call for outreach or media report back before we move on to finance. All right. While we're waiting, I'm going to open up Daniel's mic and welcome you to the call. If you care to introduce yourself, your name, which Occupy you're from, and what you're most jazzed about at this point in the planning process for the gathering.
Okay. Hi. My name is Daniel Hong, and I am in Occupy Portland, Oregon. I'm really excited about kind of finally working for transportation. Big disclaimer right now, I'm really busy and will be for the next several weeks until Saturday, April 12th, because I'm hoping to host a debtors assembly with Strike Debt Portland and with other groups. So most of my time will be consumed in that. So yeah, with that said, I will probably be more on the sidelines until after April 12th. Check.
All righty. Thank you there, Daniel. Welcome to the call. And you got Twinkles from Dallas. And right now the board is clear, so I'm going to move on to the next report back. And I just want to mention that Jackie put these on the agenda because they're the groups she could think of. It doesn't mean there's necessarily a report back from every group. So if you have a report back from finance, press 1. And if there are none, we'll move on to tech. If you're on the finance working group and you have a report back, press the number 1. And there's a 1 up from Jackie.
Okay, just very short. I got some letters out to the finance group. Heard back from 2 people. One is Janet about what she could do. And at any rate, we will try and have something out on the email list this week. And maybe by next week we could decide on who to use for fiscal sponsor. So if anybody else wants to join finance, either go to the page on the hub that says help plan or send me an email. I'll get you on the list. Check.
And Jackie, how many people are on the finance working group now?
Maybe 7, maybe 8.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Check.
That's pretty good. It's better than the 1 there was 3 weeks ago. All righty. Thank you. Now, if there's a report back from tech, well, if there's any questions about the finance report back, go ahead and press 4. Otherwise, we'll move on to tech. Okay, and seeing no 4s, let's go to tech. If you have a tech report back, I'm not sure who that is, press 1. And if there's nothing from tech, we'll move on to admin. All right, there's a 1 up. So let's go with Mr. Dallas.
All right, so as far as tech goes, really the only tech that you guys aren't already totally aware of is the website. So I'm looking at it right now, and it could probably use some fleshing out and updating in terms of text. I think most of the text on here was written at least a month ago. So I've started updating some of the text as far as being able to launch in conjunction with the Wave of Action next Friday. I think we should be good to go as long as nobody's really attached to the idea of having a Facebook integration working, because that's really what's been holding us up on the launch at this point. So I encourage anybody here who wants to write content to go set themselves up with a login and make sure you have admin privileges. Feel free to email me if you don't understand how to do this. And yeah, start writing content. With editing, you need help formatting, content, anything. Feel free to email me with help. I'd like to have like a launchable website by next Friday, but it's mostly dependent on content at this point. Thank you all. Chat.
There was some bizarre background noise a couple of times during that. I wasn't able to even identify what that sound was. And you got twinkles from Chaz. And if there's anything else about tech, press 1. Otherwise, we'll move on. All right, I don't see anything. And Jackie said we don't have anything from admin, so I'm going to skip that. And that seems to be, if you have any other report backs from any other groups that I didn't mention, please press 1. Or if you have any, well, we'll do that first. Sally, go ahead.
I don't know what this qualifies as. I would have thought it was admin, but maybe not. We have a database set up for co-creators, presenters, speakers, participants, what have you, which we are populating, and everybody who is on any of these speakers groups should check that and post there so that we all know what's what. Check.
All right, thanks, Sally. And then we have Jackie.
Yeah, not report back. I actually wanted to make an announcement. We didn't do the announcements, but most everybody might have seen it on the email list. I put in this "What will you do this week" at the bottom for checkouts, and I just sent a little explanation. We started doing this last year. It sort of helps boost morale when we all know, next week I'm doing the press release. This one's going and looking at a venue, etc. So if you want to do that, do it. If anybody objects, then don't do it. If that's cool, check.
Jackie, I actually mentioned it when I went through the agenda before we started the report back. So I mentioned that. I just included that as part of the call structure. Let's see. We just had somebody come on to the call. Brother Carter, if you would like to check in, this would be 30 seconds or less. No announcements or report backs, just your name, your Occupy, and what are you most jazzed about this planning effort at this point?
Hi, this is Brother Carter, Occupy Sacramento Urban Outreach, Occupy the Dream. I'm driving right now, so I can't really answer too much of anything. I just wanted to just let you guys know that I'm on the call and I'm just observing. Check.
All right. Thank you so much, Brother Carter. And then we also have Tricia followed by Donna being added to the call. Brother Carter, you got twinkles from Chaz. I'll just let you know that as well. So Tricia and Donna, we're doing just a quick name, what Occupy you're from, and what are you most jazzed about this planning effort. Tricia?
Tricia, Occupy Philadelphia, and I'm most jazzed that it's gaining momentum and that Occupy stuff is getting more interest and energy around it. So by the time summer comes around, we'll be all set to have a great event for people. Check.
Okay, thanks, Tricia, and followed by Donna.
Hi, everyone. This is Donna from Occupy San Diego. I'm most jazzed that we're getting closer to picking a date. I think that's going to be able to get us all in motion, and as soon as we do, I plan on kind of cruising around and rounding people up physically. So let's get this party going. Thank you. I check.
Well, the party's been going for 45 minutes, so welcome, Donna, Tricia, and Brother Carter. So I was going to do announcements together with the report back, so I'll just do them here. If you have an announcement, and I'm going to ask that your announcement be specifically something that affects the national gathering rather than just a general share about something cool that's happening, because we have a long agenda to get through tonight and only an hour and 10 minutes left on the call if we want to actually do any official decision making. So if you have an announcement that is related to the national gathering, please press the number 1 and get on the stack. And while I'm waiting, I'll fill it with my own announcement, and you guys can judge whether this is related enough. So there were two things that are happening in the next few weeks. One is the Global Climate Convergence, which is from Earth Day to May Day. It's from April 21st or 2nd, I forget what day Earth Day is, and to May 1st. And that's actually, they started having weekly organizing calls for that. And the other one is the Wave of Action, where they had their first call, and they had 100 or 200 people on the call. It's outrageous. So, and that one is also culminating on May Day. So there are these two big national and international things that are, and the Wave of Action is also sort of Occupy related because it's going to be held at locations which used to be former Occupy encampments and things like that. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And I got twinkles from Nikki on that. And I see a 4 up from Donna. Go ahead. If you have a brief response, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify that the Wave of Action starts on 4/4/14 and goes for 3 months until July 4th. I yield.
Oh, well, having not been on the call, I must have gotten my wires crossed. Thank you for the correction. Always willing to be wrong. Thanks, Donna. And you, Jackie twinkled for that, and Nikki twinkled, and now the stack is clear. Any other announcements? Sally?
Not a new announcement, a response. First of all, I have to get back on the Titan Pad. I'm back onto notes, but the important thing is we should use those two series of events to make sure folks know about the gathering, hand out literature, talk it up, check.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't yet know anything about what this Wave of Action is going to look like because it's got a big celebrity involved with it, a big international comedy star, film star, talk show host, and a couple of other people whose names I recognize. Go ahead, Sally.
Yeah, they're all into the same subject, so push them forward, push them harder.
Yeah, indeed. Cool. All right. All of a sudden, there's a bunch of hands up. Let's see, Chaz and Gandalf twinkled, and now we have Nikki and Jackie on the stack. So let's go with Nikki, followed by Jackie. Have an announcement?
I do. I just want to say that there's the climatemarch.org. They're in Arizona right now. So I would just announce that they're going across the country. So anybody who wants to jump on and connect them with Occupies along the way, I would highly suggest that because that will also build momentum if you find that you're in solidarity with what they're marching for. The other thing that I would say was, oh, snap, it's gone, and I'm on the road now. So I'm going to go off and just listen in now.
All right, Nikki, maybe you'll come back and check out when we're checking out. And maybe you can participate in the votes as well. All right, I had a response followed by Jackie, and my response is that all of these things, are opportunities for people to be able to hand out flyers, to be able to make announcements about the gathering, to chat up the gathering, all of those things. So we should probably start compiling a list of these different activities and events at which we can do it. I guess the outreach group will do that as well. So Jackie, you're the last person on the stack. Go ahead.
Yeah, just really quick announcement. Since Sally mentioned the spreadsheet before and a couple of other non-Titan Pad spreadsheets and things have come up this week, so I went and made a table of contents for the non-Titan. It's in there on the Titan Pads. So if you're looking for other documents we're using, Google Docs or spreadsheets, that's where they are. It says table of contents, non-Titan. Check.
All right, thank you. And I think that about covers it for the announcements. Oh, wait a minute. No, there's a couple more. Oh, I'm sorry. Jackie, you got twinkles from Sally and Tricia. And then there's also, that's it. That's it. So right now the board is clear. It looks like the announcements are done. And we're about to, at this point, move into our old business. So everybody take a deep breath. We're about to do something that has been culminating for about 6 or 7 weeks. Actually, it goes all the way back to the end of the Kalamazoo gathering when it was first mentioned. We're about to make a decision on the dates for the gathering. So I put out an email about half an hour before the call started with my idea for a process, because this could go messy and it could go streamlined, and I've come up with what I think is the best process just to share. And I'll mention what the steps are, and then I'll also share that this process has come partly from my experiences with Occupy Oakland and facilitating in InterOccupy, as well as the collaborative operating system, which is used in nonprofits and in spiritual organizations all over the country. So it's sort of a hybrid that I came up with given where we are and given how I've been watching the conversation take shape. So, and I've been kind of jazzed about doing this. So I will read the process to you, just so you know there are 6 parts to it. It's not as complicated as it sounds. The first one is to frame the decision to be made. And by the way, this exact process could be used for any decision that you want to make a formal decision-making process, so it's available. Framing of the decision to be made, including a short bit of background, and I'm suggesting that be no more than 5 minutes. The next piece is a time-bounded conversation wherein people can express opinions about which set of dates is best for the gathering and why, and that would be, say, a maximum of 15 minutes. But alternatively, I might just do this with a quick temp check. Given that there's only 15 people on the call, I might just try this with a straw poll and see how close we are, and that might streamline the discussion greatly if we're very close. The next step, the third step, is do a separate vote on each set of dates. I've thought about this, and I also talked it over with Jackie. I think if we actually do one vote on each set of dates, you can choose to vote for both of them. And that way you don't have to choose between them or get a messy thing. The only thing I haven't really figured out yet, and I will by the time we get there, is whether we want to do a straight yes or no or stand aside like we have been doing, or a weighted score of 1 to 5, where you would say, I feel like 1 would be doesn't matter, not really resonating that much. 5 is I'm really jazzed about it. And the reason that I'm suggesting that is the yes, no, stand aside only gives us numbers, quantities, whereas the weighted scoring also gives a read on the quality of the collective strength of the decision we're making. So it takes about an extra minute to calculate the weighted scores, and we've used it with great success in one of the Occupy Strategy working groups a number of times over the last 6 months. The fourth step is if there's one clearly favored set of dates, and I'm sure hoping there is, then we test for alignment to see, and that means test to see if there's any objections. And the potential fly in the ointment, this is the only place this thing could get derailed, is if we are split down the middle and we have a deadlock. But let's see where we are. And then the next step would be, if there are objections to the favored set of dates, have short time-bounded shares from those who object and a discovery as to the strength of each objection. So how strong is that objection? And then after the objections are raised, we'll retest for alignment to see if we've addressed the objections or if they just needed to be spoken, and we can retest for alignment if they're not that strong. And then if that all goes well, we'll have our decision inside of the next 30 to 45 minutes. So that's the process. Got twinkles from Nikki there on something I said during all of that. So without further ado, I just want to make sure, are there any objections to this process? Because I don't want to get into a process conversation now. But if you objections with where there's something so heinous that you just can't participate in it, I've tried to make it transparent, inclusive, all the Occupy goodies. All right, I'm just seeing nothing but twinkles, so that's good. And I'll go through each step. If you didn't get it all, I don't expect you to remember all this as we do each step. So the first step is to frame the decision. So I'll start with that, and if there's anything that needs to be added to it, I'll invite that. I'm going to try to keep this under 5 minutes. So the Sacramento group, we're starting the second step of a 2-step process that was started about 5 or 6 weeks ago. The first step was to occupy Sacramento to go off and come up with what sets of dates really they thought were the best. And they ultimately came away with 2 sets of dates, weighing in factors such as the availability of venues and university spaces, the availability of certain individuals, potentially avoiding or gravitating towards full moon ceremonies. I'm not sure which way that actually was supposed to go. the availability of college students, since many of them go back to school in mid-August and are prepping and are getting moved into their dorms and so forth on that middle weekend in August. Having it far enough away from September 17th so as not to be overshadowed by it, which I think hurt us a little bit last year. And there are other factors as well, and if anybody wants to add to those factors that you guys considered when you chose these particular two sets of dates, I'm not asking you to advocate one of them. I would be asking you to share why you narrowed it down to just these two. And the two sets of dates are the 31st of July through the 3rd of August, and the following weekend, which is August 7th through the 10th. So those are the two sets of dates that we will be deciding from among tonight. If you have any context to add about, if you're from Sacramento and have any context to add about how you came up with those two sets of dates that already hasn't been shared, please press 1. Otherwise, we'll just move on to the next step. Again, the dates will be July 31st through August the 3rd, or August the 7th through the 10th. All right, I don't see any raised hands. That's great. Seems like we've had enough conversation about this. So I'm just going to see where we are. Let me do a quick 2 sets of temp checks on these dates just to see. This is not a binding decision. I just want to see where we are. Actually, I'm going to do this a little differently when we actually do the vote. I'm going to do 1 temp check. Press 2 if you strongly favor July 31st through August the 3rd. Press 3 if you strongly favor August the 7th through the 10th. Press 4 if either one works or your favoring is not strong enough to really matter. Press 4 if it's that way. It's kind of like a stand aside, but you're actually participating in the poll as well. And press 5 if you actually don't want to vote, if you actually want to abstain or to stand aside entirely. That'll be 5. So again, number 2 for the first set of dates, July 31st through August the 3rd. Press 3 if you want August the 7th through the 10th, and press 4 if either date works pretty much equally well or you don't have any your favoring's not strong enough to matter, and press 5 if you want to completely stand aside. And so I don't see a hand from Jerry or Sally. Let me put my own vote in there as well. Okay. Oh, we couldn't have worked out more perfectly. Jerry, I'm going to open up your mic. Did you intend to vote? Maybe your buttons aren't working. Or did you want to abstain?
No, I'm back on. I had to do some family matters here and come in and out of this. My intention is to vote with my pen or my keyboard, and that is to get as much publicity as possible for what's going on.
Okay. So you don't have a preference for which set of dates?
My preference would be the earlier part of the month, but I'm able to do either.
The dates are the choices are July 31st through the 3rd of August, or the 7th through the 10th of August.
The 7th to 10th.
Okay, that's late. Fine. That's later dates. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. So I'm going to stick you there. So we have. No, it's not registering what I'm doing. There it is. Nope, that's not the right number. All right. So what we have is a nearly dead heat. In fact, it's bizarre. We have 4 people weighing in that they like the earlier dates. We have 5 people weighing in that they like the later dates. And we have 4 people who think that the dates are equally good, or they don't have a strong preference, and 2 people standing aside. And that's with everybody but Jose voting. So let's see. So if somebody would record those, that's just the temp check. If somebody would record that in the notes, that would be great. So it's 4 2s, 5 3s, 4 4s, and 2 5s. 5 being the complete stand aside. So given that, we're pretty much at an almost dead heat, and I don't think we should carry this by 1 vote. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I originally planned. I'll open up a stack for you to talk about why you think it's good for the gathering to hold it on a particular date. And I'm going to ask you to make your comments not about your own personal desires and needs, but what you think is actually best for the gathering and for the Occupy movement. That's the request. And I'm going to hold these shares to 60 seconds because we may have a lot of people talking, and I want to make sure as many people get to talk as possible. So we're going to start with Nikki, followed by Jerry, followed by Donna, followed by Gandalf. Nikki.
The only thing I would say with the later dates is we have the opportunity of the Nagasaki Hiroshima and 8/8 and the alliteration of that numerology, really like it, and it's leading into the next weekend is the full moon ceremony. Over.
Well, actually, the full moon ceremony would be the later weekend, so I don't think that's accurate. The full moon ceremony would be on the 10th. Oh, you mean leading into it on that? You mean have it at the end of the actual gathering weekend?
Exactly.
Okay. I thought you were saying it was on the following weekend. Okay, got it. All right. Thanks. That's clear. All right. And Sally has a response to that before we move on to the next person. Go ahead.
My response was going to be your response. Taken care of. Check.
All right. That often happens with Sally and me. Okay. Next is Jerry, followed by Donna. Go ahead, Jerry.
Well, I was originally considered by Willie Underbaggage to participate in the later one, what is now the later one, which is for me the early part of August. And Willie Underbaggage had reasons for that being the best date for him. I don't know if that's true for all the indigenous, but at that time it was. So again, that's my choice, it's my preference, but it's nothing that I necessarily have to stand on. Check.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to respond because I need to clarify something. I may have been part of what created some of the confusion about the William Underbaggage's comments. So as I recall it, what William Underbaggage said was that he was available on the weekend of the 14th to the 17th and also available on the prior weekend, which is the 7th through the 10th, and that he mentioned that the full moon ceremony was on the 10th. I took that to mean that we should gravitate towards the full moon ceremony. The next time he spoke, which was a week or two later on the call, it was very different. He was saying, no, we should avoid the ceremonies because that's when all these indigenous groups go off and do them. We should avoid that weekend. And that he himself was not available because he'd be on the road for a solid month and barely able to make it in time for the closing, which he wanted to make on the 17th. So there's been major confusion around whether we were supposed to gravitate towards or away from the full moon ceremony. And I feel to some degree that I'm responsible for some of that confusion because I took his first comment to mean we should move towards it, when I guess he really didn't mean that. I guess he really meant we should avoid it because it would take Native Americans away from their setting, or they would not be able to participate in the gathering because their ceremonies would be happening that weekend. That's my latest understanding about that. If you have further clarification on that, please press 4. Chaz, you have a 4 up.
Yeah, I twinkle what you just said. I'm pretty sure that the idea is to that the people planning to attend the water ceremony on the full moon on the 10th are going to be going to other places. They won't be able to make it to Sacramento. So that's why those dates are not working for the people that Willie was working with all over California and the West. So yeah, I took it to mean to avoid the full moon, and I think that's correct. So I'll check out with that.
All right, great. Thanks for the confirmation there, Chaz. I know you've been tracking this probably at least as clearly as I have. Go ahead, Donna. You have a response as well.
Yes, and
Wait a minute, Donna. Hang on a second. Can you please start over? I had a technical problem.
No worries. I was just going to say that as I had a feeling that I should try to reach William Underbaggage today, and I didn't do it. I just forgot about it. But now I'm thinking that it definitely may need to be clarified with him if anyone can get a hold of him. But as far as I recall, when he and I were first working at the very start, way back in the beginning, what I recall is that there were several different sets of ceremonies. I think that's what's confusing people. The full moon ceremony and whatever water ceremony Chaz just referred to what I recall William Underbaggage saying in regard to that specific week was that the full moon would be on Sunday the 10th, but that he would still be able to get to where he needed to go because that would be at the end of our gathering. So the full moon is that Sunday. So since we usually end the NAC at like by noonish or so, from what I remember, he said that if he had to go somewhere, he would be able to get there in time. That being said, there's now been so much talk about this that I think we definitely do need to clarify it. And also, I believe that what I recall is that he said that the August 7th through the 10th would be the best for the most people that he knew that he had been in contact with. I yield.
Well, I have a response to that because it sounds completely opposite from what Chaz and I were just saying. And I want to just clarify that there's whether he can make it, and then there's whether all these other indigenous groups can make it. What Chaz is saying is his understanding was that the indigenous groups would not be able to make it because they would be in other places. And that's my understanding too. And that's what I gleaned from what he said. Whether William Underbaggage himself could make it to the very end of the gathering, I mean, to me, I'm just expressing my own opinion that to organize this gathering around one person being at the closing ceremony, there are many other factors that matter, and for me, it's not the strongest factor. I think there are other indigenous folks that we can have, and he even said himself it doesn't have to be him, even though he had a desire to be here. So I remember him saying that as well. So the board's lighting up with all kinds of responses and stack. So I'm going to we have 2 responses. And Chaz, your hand actually went up first. Go ahead. Oops, sorry, Chaz. Didn't turn on your mic. Go ahead, start over. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I put up the question on the 24th on the Indigenous Working Group Facebook page, and William Underbaggage says, not good. Well, the 7th of death. I asked about this. The 7th to 10th, a good time or a bad time? And he says it's not good. He'd have to cancel going to South Dakota to plan for the Sundance and family time. So now that said, I really wish Stephen was on the call, and maybe Brother Carter knows something about it. But the full moon ceremony on the 10th, I think, is called the water ceremony, and it's observed by a lot of people involved with Idle No More. And so the people that Willie was talking to are the people that would be going to that. So that I think it is more than just an individual person's ability to make it. And with that, I'll check.
Yeah, you can't see me, but I'm nodding my head. So Jackie, you have your hand up in response. Go ahead.
What Chaz said might have superseded it. If was it just this week that he put that up? What I was going to direct respond with, I actually went back to the January 29th call where I guess this conversation took place, but I'm sure some might have superseded it. But at any rate, I took some notes today from listening, and let's see, and Willie said that because the ceremonies are usually dedicated around full moon time, so for me that would mean rescheduling to mid-July or early July, and many will be traveling from mid-July to mid-August. One of the other things many people are aware of is the summer solstice and full moon. The last thing, I didn't write every word, I just took the chunks out that had to do with this. I wouldn't be opposed to the weekend before, which means that which I believe is the 7th. Anything later than that would be difficult because students in school, and then it goes to other things. And he also said end of July, almost not going to be possible to attend. That's what I got. Check.
Okay. So Jackie, can you distill that down into, because I heard a bunch of different things, can you distill that down into what the essence of what he's actually saying there? And by the way, I'm considering both these weekends to really be August weekends, not the end of July. So go ahead, Jackie.
Well, I mean, distilled down is that he said in one place that the 7th to 10th would be good for him. And he also said the end of July is not possible. As far as the full moon, it said a lot of people would have to reschedule, and many will be traveling at native rituals, the summer solstice and full moon. I mean, that wasn't really expounded upon, but for himself, he did say he could be there. But then when we made this decision, there was an email where he said he couldn't make it the 7 to 10. So, but I just wanted to weigh into what was on, like, that call's discussion. But it sounds like what Chaz read on Facebook was more recent. And also, Chaz, can you send me I've never seen that working group. Can you send the link to that? Checked.
Chaz, I opened up your mic so you can respond to how recent that Facebook post was, and as well as respond to Jackie's request.
It was from the 25th of March, and I'm just going to tag you in the Indigenous working group there, Jackie.
Check. That was yesterday.
Yeah. Or, well, I'm sorry, March 24th. March 24th.
2 days ago. Not.
Yeah.
And she's reading something from 2 months ago. Okay. Got it. So that information sounds like it's more up-to-date and more reliable. So I'm still with the sense that, and it sounds like you are too, that we should avoid that weekend if we want Idle No More and some of the other indigenous groups to participate. I'll also respond by saying, given the flack we got last year from Occupy Racism, and I think their flack was well founded, that we would be shooting ourselves in the foot if we did anything that would in any way exclude Native American indigenous groups. That's my opinion. I'm saying that rather strongly because I actually feel that if we're going to talk about this particular issue, that we ought to do it when those folks can actually come. That's my opinion. I wouldn't block a decision to do it this weekend, but I would for that reason. But I can tell you that it won't go well for us if we are perceived as exclusionary, and there'll be cries of systemic racism again and the whole 9 yards. So. Sorry about that. All right, I got twinkles. Either Chaz or I got twinkles. I'm not sure who, from Tricia and Jackie on something we said. And there's still a whole bunch of people on the stack. Brother Carter, let's hear from you, followed by Kathy. Go ahead.
I was just going to emphasize, I really don't know actually what's going on in that area as far as for a date and with Willie Underbaggage, and the person that can really answer that is Stephen Payan. And I was hoping that he was on the call today, and he can explain it to everybody a little better. It's been the last 2 weeks he hasn't been on the call, because I know he's been busy working with this weekend event, which is the Cesar Chavez event. So hopefully we can, Lisa will come on to the call if she's not already on, and maybe she probably talked to him. But I don't know, remanufacturing these dates to go back to them to see what Willie Underbaggage, is done. It seems like that we're waiting for Willie Underbaggage instead of, trying to get a date to where it just works. I mean, we can't wait for one man, because the one man cannot make a whole movement, or what we're trying to do, a gathering work. And that's where the complication is coming in, because we're trying to appease, I believe one person, to make, so we can make adjustments. And we have enough, like I said, on our hands here, trying to get a location and a date. I know that some of our Occupy people here in Sacramento had a meeting over the weekend, which I wasn't here. I was in L.A. doing some other things on police brutality. But maybe if, they can discuss what they came up with over the weekend, because I still haven't had a chance to have that conversation with any of them. And like I said, Stephen was with me over the weekend at the police brutality. And so, like I said, each time I come in, I'm looking for Stephen to come and speak up, but I guess he's not on the call, because that's where all the elements really lie, on what he has. Check.
Brother Carter, you talking about Stephen Payan?
Yeah.
Okay. Check. Yeah, he usually shows up a little bit later. I'm surprised he's not here at all tonight. Usually he's here by now, so I'm actually surprised. Wow. Chaz posted something large to the stack Chaff Chat, but I think Jackie's requesting, Chaz, that you actually read it aloud to us again. But before we do that, I want to say there's a lot of people with their hands up, and I think we could easily burn up the remainder of this call just having a conversation about William Underbaggage and the indigenous groups. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to put everybody's hands down for a second, and I'd like to do two things. I'd like to find out, I'd like Chaz to reread the thing he read before, the post from the 24th from Monday, for us. Just if you could do that so we can again hear it clearly, and then I'm going to tell you what we'll do next. Go ahead, Chaz.
Sure. My question I put up on Monday was, is the 7th and 10th a good time or a bad time for NACAT in August? That was just, it's the Indigenous Working Group Facebook page. I thought I'd ask. And people chimed in, and what Underbaggage said was, not good, we will have to cancel our South Dakota plans for the Sundance and family time. And that's all he really said. Like we've heard, he's said many different things as well. But if I was planning an event on a full moon, I'd be planning it like up until that day. So I think that the organizers in the Indigenous community that are going to plan anything for new moon or the full moon, So that's it. Check.
All right, Jackie, twinkle if that's what you needed to hear, or if that's clear enough. So here's what I'd like to do. Before we have any other comments, and hands are all down, what I'd like to do is do a temp check with the group, because I seem to be here. I want to see how important this is. So if you feel we should postpone this decision for another week while we get this information cleared up from William Underbaggage, because you feel like the post that we just got isn't clear, or you're still confused, or you think it's important enough to have him here, or some reason like that, press the number 2. If you think we should postpone the decision for another week, press the number 2. If you think we need to have a decision now and need to do it tonight, press the number 3. And if you stand aside, press the number 4. I would like the group to take ownership of what we do here. Number 2, if you think we should wait another week. 3, if you think we should make the decision here with what we have. And press 4 if you stand aside. Need to have votes from Chaz, from Carrie, from Donna, and from Lou. Two, to hold off for a week. 3, to do it tonight. Donna, I'm not seeing a vote from you, and I'm not seeing a vote from you, Lou. I'm going to open your mic. Lou, maybe your buttons are not showing up. There we go. There's a 4. And Donna, checking to see if there's a technical problem with you. Your mic is open. Donna?
Oh, hey. Yeah, are you there?
Yes, I'm waiting for you to choose whether you think we should postpone this a week, or whether you think we should make the decision tonight. That's really where we're up against. So press 2 if you think we should postpone it a week, or as long as it takes for us to get this clarification, because we might not get the clarification in a week. So that's the other thing. I should say that. At least a week. And press 3 if you think we should proceed with making the decision tonight. And press 4 if you stand aside. Donna, we're waiting for your where you weigh in. All right. So this group is just going to confound me until I'm dead. So we have 5 people voting to postpone it a week. We have 6 people voting to do the decision tonight. And we have 4 people standing aside. That's it. Everybody voting. Oh, and Delphine, you just joined the call, and you don't even know what we're doing. Delphine, I'm going to open up your mic for a second. Please, everybody, don't press any other buttons, because I got to leave the votes the way they were. So whoever pressed 1, please go back to the way you voted before. Thanks. Leave your votes until we include Delphine. So Delphine, welcome to the call. If you would start out, I'm inviting you to say your name, the Occupy you're with, and what are you most jazzed about this gathering effort. And then I'm going to clue you into what we're doing and try to see if you can participate right here and now. Delphine?
Hi, this is Delphine Brody with Occupy Sacramento. Apologies for just getting out of another meeting that conflicted with the first hour and 20 minutes. I am most jazzed about our national gathering happening in Sacramento, although I know the details are still being worked out. I'm excited that that Occupy Sacramento is endorsing the Undoing Racism training and inviting all parties to join us who may be interested in being part. And I'm going to prepare more information to give you details on that resolution that we made at our GA a week ago, and we had a great retreat planning the GA last Saturday as well. So I'm excited about that. We're making progress, and we now have a fundraising, the beginnings of a fundraising work group that I'm part of. So I'm jazzed about all that. And I'm sorry I missed most of the call. Check.
All right. So this is sort of a baptism by fire for you, Delphine. So we're in the middle of a very long, we actually were at the beginning of a conversation about which dates to pick. As you probably know, we are trying to decide between July 31st and August the 3rd as one weekend and August the 7th through 10th as the other weekend. And the conversation has gotten bogged down in a conversation about William Underbaggage and the indigenous groups and whether or not the indigenous groups would want us to avoid the weekend of the 7th through the 10th because that's a full moon, and there are a lot of ceremonies, including water ceremonies, that are happening that weekend as we understand it, versus we should actually have them come and did that weekend. So there's a lot of confusion. There's people who actually want to continue to check with William Underbaggage one more time and hold off on this decision yet another week or two until we get that response from him and get clarity from him. I think it's going to take multiple communications before we get a clear response because his communications have not been clear with us and they've been conflicting. On the other hand, Chaz read a Facebook post that was made 2 days ago to the Indigenous Groups Working Group, and that seems to clarify that we should avoid that weekend. So we're in the middle of a temp check right now to find out if we should postpone this decision for a week or we should make the decision tonight because we need to make it. And so, Delphine, I'm going to ask you if you would like to participate in the vote. You can press 2 if you think we should hold off another week to try to get some clarification on this from William Underbaggage. Press 3 if you think we should press forward with what we know already at this point and make the decision tonight. And press 4 if you stand aside. And if anybody who wants to change their vote while I've been speaking is free to do it, because whatever you leave last will be what your vote is. Whatever you press the last will be what your vote is. So Delphine, again, if you want to participate in this, press 2. Well, if you don't want to participate, press 4 for standing aside. Press 2 if you think we should hold off yet another week. Press 5 if you think we should make the decision tonight. Sorry, wrong number. 3 if you think we should make the decision tonight. 2 if you think we should wait a week. 3 if you think we should make it tonight. 4 if you want to stand aside. Okay, Delphine stands aside, and there was some shifting around of the votes, but it didn't make any difference. 2 people who were standing aside, one of them now is a 2 and one of them now is a 3, and so and somebody just changed their thing to a 1 and screwed up the count. So whoever that is, put your vote back. Oh, it's Delphine, I guess. You wanted to speak. Go ahead, Delphine. I think we don't need the votes anymore, so I'll clear the hands. Go ahead, Delphine.
I'm really sorry. I pressed 4 not to stand aside, but to respond. My apologies.
Okay.
I just needed a bit more clarification on that. I heard 2 dates. The second one, I believe, was August. That went really fast.
I'll do the dates again. So the 2 dates are July 31st through August the 3rd, essentially the first weekend of August, and the second weekend of August, which is the next weekend, August 7th through the 10th.
Okay. And my other question is that has there been any report back from Occupy Sac about determining what venue is available on a particular date?
Well, they're actually putting the decision to us. They're doing what we asked them to do, which was to come up with multiple sets of dates that worked for them, and they gave us these 2 sets of dates. So they're asking us to make the decision, and some of those folks are on this call, so they're also participating with us in this decision here and now.
One final question is...
The one last piece of information I think I need to clarify is that the post that Chaz read was stating that Idle No More would be participating in their full moon ceremonies on the weekend of the 10th. And so would other indigenous groups. So that is and that post came in only 2 days ago. So that's the most recent thing we have to go on. Check.
I'm not sure if you can still hear me. This is Delphine.
Yes.
Thank you. My question then is just would a number 2 vote, or sorry, temp check up Twinkle mean that you support that one supports having the gathering on the second week, or would it mean that one supports having the gathering on the first week? I'm so sorry.
No. That's a different vote. Now we're just trying to decide whether to make the decision tonight based on the fact that the conversation got really messy within 15 or 20 minutes. We were bogged down in the middle of this. And so I'm calling for a temp check to find out whether people want to postpone the decision another week while they get some more clarification from William Underbaggage. So there's a few people who seem to want to get clarification from William Underbaggage, and there's other people who think we need to make the decision now. So the temp check I'm asking for was the 2 was if you wanted to make the decision, if you wanted to wait another week and not make the decision tonight as we planned, or do we want to go ahead with the plan and make the decision tonight? That would be the number 3, and the stand aside would be number 4. Is that clear, Delphine?
Yes, it is. Check, and I'm about to give you my temperature.
Okay, good. 2 to wait a week, 3 to make the decision tonight. And so now we are at an absolute dead heat with exactly the same number of people voting to postpone it. All right, Donna, you have the mic for 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just want to get us back to where we were. We are now at 5:30. Initially, we started this conversation with you saying you were going to go through 5 points. We got to the first point, frame the decision of a process we were going to go through, and then you called for a temperature check, which I believe we've spent an extraordinarily long amount of time on for a temperature check when we could be discussing the reasons why we want to have the other dates. The conversation about William Underbaggage only lasted about 5 minutes. So I'd like to know if we can get back to maybe getting away from this lengthy temperature check and move on to the process you were describing. We were on number 1, frame the decision, and we still haven't gone through 2, 3, 4, or 5. And initially you said that we would be finished with that by 5:30. So I'm just reminding us that we're getting really bogged down with a check, and I'd like to see us progress a little bit faster. Thank you. I yield.
Okay, thank you. And just to clarify, we were actually in the middle of the discussion. Part of that number 2 item was to have a quick straw poll just to see where we were. The straw poll failed because we were pretty much almost equally divided between the 2 dates, with a lot of people standing aside or saying that either date would work for them. So we didn't have a strong favoring towards one or the other. And we were in the middle of actually having that conversation when people started to talk about William Underbaggage and the indigenous ceremony. So that's actually where we were. And I only took the temp check just to find out if we needed to postpone the decision, because I actually don't believe we can work through that. We're going to have to decide to make a decision or not make the decision. And because we can't really get back to the process until the group is aligned with that. That's the problem here. We have a number. We have let's see. We have I guess at this point, if you want to get, I'm just going to have to open up a stack. We'll go back to the conversation we were having, and because we don't have a decision on the dates, and we don't have a decision even about whether to postpone or to make a decision tonight. We're equally split in both cases. Sally, go ahead. Oops, Sally just disappeared. Well, we'll go with Kathy, who had her hand up already. Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, I propose that we wait 1 week, only 1 week, and we nominate somebody to be the person to get a hold of Willie or whoever we need to get a hold of, and maybe even write down, a list of questions to pin him down. But we need to specify one person to do it. Check.
All right. I can say right now that I would be opposed to that, especially if it's only one person, because I have no confidence whatsoever that we will get one clear set of communications from him that will be consistent from one conversation to the next. And at this point, so that's where I am with it. Chaz, you wanted to respond.
Yeah, for better or worse, I strongly believe we need to make the decision tonight. So just because April 4th is coming up, and I think that is the important day that we're trying to get all this rolling by. So that's what I wanted to weigh in. Check.
Okay. I see twinkles from Jackie and Donna on what you just said there, Chaz. And Lisa, you have your hand up. Go ahead. Or you just changed it to a twinkle. Did you not want to speak?
Oh, yes, I did want to speak. I was wondering, were there any other comments posted on this Indigenous page other than just Willie Underbaggage? I mean, did any other Indigenous people have any feelings about that date? I checked.
I'll open up Chaz's mic for a quick response.
Contact at the reservation, the Paugussett Reservation in Connecticut says, I'm reading it from a really bad spot. There was only two other people that mentioned. One was Sparrow. She was going for the I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to. I'm not ready for that. Here we go. All right. Sparrow thinks it's a good idea. Mary thinks it's a good idea on the 7th and the 10th. I just asked the question: is the 7th and 10th a good time or a bad time? So Mary, who I've not met, who is in Colchester, Connecticut, on a reservation, says 7 and 10 is good. Sparrow, who is traveling now, thinks it's good on the 7th and the 10th, and William Underbaggage thinks it's not good. I think it's not good. Check. Those are that's
yeah,
everything.
And I actually can read. I'll read William Underbaggage's comment. It says, "Not good. We will have to cancel our South Dakota plans for the Sundance and family time." That's actually what it says. So I have a question. Why do we need to go back to William Underbaggage if he posted this 2 days ago, clearly saying it's not good? They'll have to cancel the South Dakota plans for the Sundance and family time if we do it on the 7th through the 10th. I want to ask if there's anybody who objects to us making the decision tonight, given that that's what he just wrote, and that we have to go back. I don't think we have to go back for more clarification. I'm putting all the hands down, and so if you need to speak, press the number, and if you object to doing this tonight, if you're going to block it, then press 3. Sally, followed by Jackie. Go ahead, Sally.
Yeah, I've been trying to speak for a while. I think it is totally disrespectful to Occupy Sacramento to not make a decision tonight, one way or the other. Check.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sally, for that concise comment. Jackie, go ahead.
Just to continue on with Chaz reading from the Indigenous group, I did put on the agenda to look in the chat. Mary, who he mentioned is on the reservation in Colchester, Connecticut, wrote via email. I don't think they can get on calls, limited cell phones or whatever, but she wrote, "It is my vote for the 7 to 10 dates. We have an individual who has volunteered to do a teepee ceremony as well as teach workshops on Native American spirituality. I feel that we should be in solidarity with those who are in solidarity with us." Mary, check.
All right, Jack, I have a clarifying question. I think this is probably what you were mentioning to me the other day. We're talking about people who are Indigenous people, or people who simply know how to do an Indigenous ceremony, or do we know that? Check.
I don't know that. Check.
Okay. If anybody knows the answer to that question, press 4. Whether that group that Mary's talking about is actually an Indigenous group, or whether they're people who know how to do Indigenous ceremonies. Because in Occupy, we can have either. it's possible to have either. All right, there's a lot of hands going up with twinkles. There were at least 2 twinkles for Chaz's strong advocating that we do the decision tonight out of respect to Occupy Sacramento. There are other twinkles for other things that other people said, so I'm not quite sure. Jose, you've had your hand up for a little while. Go ahead.
Oh, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah. Hi. I just wanted to say that I think we should have the vote tonight, just so we don't stall anymore, because doing something this big would require as much time as possible to do. So the sooner we have a set date, the sooner everything else can fall into place.
All right. Thanks. And you got twinkles there. And Kathy, you had put your hand up to speak quite a while ago. I just want to see if you still have something relevant to say at this point, or did you want to yield?
I've forgotten. I yield.
Okay, thanks. And by the way, Jose, you also got twinkles from Jackie and somebody else whose hand I put down, Lisa's, I think. And Gandalf, you are on the stack. And I'm going to say let's take, I think we should close the stack at this point after Gandalf's comment. Go ahead, Gandalf.
Yeah, thanks a lot. This has really been difficult listening to all this. When we made the decision on Saturday, there were just dozen of us there, and the 2 dates, the 31st through the 3rd and the 7th through the 10th, we put the caveat on that if the indigenous people had a great difficulty with that 7th to 10th, that would change the balance of decision making, but that we really didn't have a clear message on what was going to happen, why it was a problem. So the consensus for the 7th to the 10th, but the caveat was there about the indigenous people. Now, as the more I listen to this conversation, the more it seems like it would be resolved most easily if we just eliminate the 7th to the 10th. If there seems to be great doubt whether the indigenous people can fit that into their schedule. So moving it to the 31st to the 3rd, I don't think is a great, earth-shaking decision. It's, it's 1 week. And I'm willing to change my vote, and I think I would
I can't tell if
recommend.
I got lost or you got lost. It sounded like your voice trailed off.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm losing power here.
No, you're doing great, Gandalf. Everybody can hear you, and what you're saying is getting lots of twinkles. I think Kyle is having a technical difficulty. Do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't. Other than that, I think I'm recommending that we make the switch to the 31st through the 3rd, because it resolves the problems that we're struggling with here, and I think the difference is negligible. So I yield.
Well, thanks for that, Gandalf. Kyle is dialing back in. In the meantime, we have a direct response from Jackie. Jackie, your mic is on.
Okay, thanks. What was my direct response? Oh, okay. I appreciate the thing, the consideration for William and indigenous people. That how to say this? I mean, we keep hearing of this block, the indigenous people, without anyone else weighing in except these hard lines of communication to William. The same situation is happening in Connecticut with just to clarify for folks that don't know, I believe, and Chaz can tell me, and Tricia maybe, because I'm just catching up with this, all streets and the 7 generations were doing a project in eco-living on the reservation, I can't remember the name of it, in Connecticut. Hard grounders, I know a lot of people on the West Coast said they haven't heard that term, which is the people who were occupying on the streets and staying there all the time and continue to do that. They consider themselves, the name used is hard grounders. They've been doing a lot of work for media, artwork, getting the program together. But there is a disconnect. There is a communication problem, and we've been kind of reaching out this week. So all that to say that they are advocating for the 7th to the 10th and are sort of people who have been doing the work. And Mary put that out, be in solidarity with those who are in solidarity with us. So I'm not advocating either way. I just want to make sure that the other people who are sort of out there on the ground and not on these calls get their voice heard. Check.
All right. This is Cal. I'm back. I got bumped off the call. I'm sorry. We have Delphine on the stack, and I was going to close it originally before. I'm not sure where we are now in the conversation. Delphine, and Jackie, you got a ton of people twinkling for you there. And then we have a response from Lisa. Go ahead, Delphine.
Hi, it's Delphine. I appreciate what Jackie had to say, and I hear what the hard grounders are saying. My concern is primarily that if other indigenous groups here in Sacramento or Northern California, such as Idle No More, are not able to attend during the second week that's been proposed because of the full moon and their ceremonies, then I think it's important to. Thank you. It's important to especially prioritize the inclusion of the local Native and Indigenous folks, as well as address the issues that Willie Underbaggage has already raised. So those are my concerns. Check.
Okay, we have Lisa, followed by Donna, followed by Jackie, followed by me. Let's go with Lisa. 60 seconds each, please. Thanks.
Thank you. My question is for Jackie. We're the hard grounders and the people who are enthusiastic about the 7th through the 10th, are they in contact with indigenous people, or are they just saying let's do these dates in support of indigenous people? So are any indigenous people that they know enthusiastic about these dates? I yield.
If you have a response to that, press the number 4. Otherwise, and I'm going to open up Jackie's mic since you mentioned Jackie as a possible person to respond to that. Go ahead.
Chaz or even Trish might know a little more. I know that they are occupiers on a Native reservation and, have been working, learning, but I don't really know, who's all plugged in. This is one of our communication problems. As Cal asked before, are they Native Americans that are coming to do workshops, or, people who are interested in Native American spirituality and putting it on? There's a difference. But that's all I know. Sorry. Check.
All right. Thanks, Jackie. We have Donna, and followed by me. Go ahead, Donna.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. When I was speaking before, several things were misunderstood, so I want to clarify what I know. As far as what I heard Jackie say regarding what she had transcribed from the notes, that is what I recall as well. I don't believe that the whole week of the 7th through the 10th was an issue. It was just the night of the 10th. But also I do recall that several times William Underbaggage mentioned that this wasn't about him. He was trying to determine dates when the most people could come. So I want to make sure that that's clear, that no one thinks this is for one person. But also I'd like to know, I'm on a hotspot right now, and I don't have access to the Internet, but I'm wondering if anyone does right now on the call, if they could just, I know here in San Diego County, and there's like the powwow calendar, and there's usually a schedule of events for First Nation groups in certain areas. So couldn't someone possibly try to check now to find out if anything is listed and see if there's a direct conflict right now so we could attempt to have the vote tonight, please? Thank you. I yield.
All right. Thanks, Donna. I twinkled, and I also was the last person who was up for a response. So I want to just say that I ended up getting in the middle of the hornet's nest last year with the Occupy racism and the boycott about 10 days before the gathering happened. And I remember how that went, and I remember how much that that still hangs over us. And Delphine, I mentioned this before you got on the call. I am just so concerned about the fact that we will be perceived as picking a date that would then exclude some significant group of color, segment of the people of color. And weighs on me the idea that we would actually even consider such a decision. You know, it may be one night, but there's also people who have to travel. So that means they might have to give up the day before. You know, it's the whole thing just doesn't sit well with me. The idea that we know that this is likely to be a problem for indigenous groups. We have a clear statement from Leon Urbagas. It was written 2 days ago. It's the clearest communication I've heard from him in the entire time that I've been involved with this, which goes all the way back to Kalamazoo when he was there. I am literally terrified of what would happen if we make a decision that might be perceived as excluding any significant component of people of color. Check. So Donna, you have a 3 up. That means you don't like what I'm saying. Okay, I understand that. And we have responses from Chaz, followed by Sally, and then Lisa. You're on stack. So Chaz first, then Sally.
This is just preliminary web search. The first thing that came up on Google was the International Day of World's Indigenous People is on August 9th. So that's a UN thing. It's a worldwide day for indigenous people. So that would be one conflict. It's obvious and easy to find on the web. Check.
Okay, thanks. And then we have Sally. Actually, I have another direct response before I get to the next person who's on the stack. So Sally, then me, then Lisa.
Okay, I have the second conflict, which is the 18th Annual Sacramento Powwow on Friday, August 10th, 2012. 2012, hello. Oops, never mind. That was a sense, and I went, let me move up to the 14th. This website only goes to August 2013. I told you I was tired. I got 2 hours of sleep last night. Check, bye.
Thank you for playing. Lisa, I'll let you go before me. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm also doing a search to see if there are any conflicts. But I remember Willie Underbaggage's post. He didn't seem at all upset if we pick a date that does not include him. And I just wonder if he really is, as far as dates, speaking for all indigenous people. I don't know. I'm looking, and I don't see anything. Wow, this must be a real unupdated calendar here. They don't have anything at all for July or August. So that's I checked.
Right, thanks, Lisa. And we have a response from Carrie, from whom we haven't heard in a while. Carrie, go ahead.
Same problem. I just wanted to clarify. We're looking for the San Diego powwow, yeah? Because I see that they had one in, I think it was January, and it's been rescheduled for May of 2014. But I'm not finding it. But I do remember that the 7th through 10th is bad, and that's all. Check.
I'm sorry, you're saying the 7th through the 10th is bad? Is that what you said, Carrie? I didn't hear you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was the facilitator on the call that was, like 6 weeks ago, where we, somebody thought we picked a date, but I didn't understand it that way. And that's what they picked, was the 7th through 10th. And then they made a Facebook event page, and posters went out and all this stuff, and it turns out like the next day that Chaz or somebody hooked up with Willie Underbaggage and that was not going to work for him. But as Lisa said, he was cool with that. You know, it's not, I don't think it's an ego thing. But I think that we have been talking to him since last year about coordinating this group with many groups that he represents. It's many groups. And that they have actually indicated, you know, that they would come to this gathering. So, you know, that weighs more heavily to me than hard grounders in Connecticut that I've had difficulty communicating with. So that's all I wanted to say. So I haven't said anything so far. Sorry for going on. Check.
Okay, thanks. So I was on with the response next, followed by Jackie, followed by Dallas. But I'm going to say we're about to run out of time to make this decision if we want to try to do it. So if I'm going to put both of your hands down, Jackie and Dallas, and I'm going to ask you to put it back up again. If you have something that must be said, without which, if we don't hear it, we're going to be shooting ourselves in the foot. So put your hand back up, Jackie or Dallas, if you feel like what you have to say is absolutely necessary for us to hear, because otherwise we're not going to get this done. I just need to clarify, because of Donna's response with a 3 to my comments, which is that it's not so much that I'm living in fear, it's that I am concerned about the reputation of this group. I'm concerned about, you know, I don't want to be held hostage by Occupy Racism, but I also felt like they have some good points as well. And I just feel that I know that in Oakland, Indigenous folks were such an integral part of what was happening, because we were actually we were living on former Ohlone land, and of the Ohlone tribe, and descendants of the Ohlone tribe would come along and get up and address the GA every once in a while. I don't know what it is in Sacramento, but I do have a strong sensitivity to it. Now, I'm not only one voice in this, but I just wanted to say it's less about the fear that I have than it is about the concern I have that it's not going to be healthy for the movement or for the gathering itself if we start having boycotts and accusations and whatnot. Not to say that they'll do it necessarily, but I think we've spent so much time trying to be concerned about the indigenous groups for us to basically not honor that. For me feels just feels strange, and I'm fumbling. Sorry. Check. All right, Donna, followed by Sally and Jackie, and then I'm going to close the stack because we have to decide if we're going to decide. Go ahead, Donna.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. I think you're misunderstanding my you said in referring to Donna's comments, I put a 3 not because I don't believe that what you said was a valid concern. I certainly do. But I'm wondering why in all this time the day of the vote is the day that we decide we're going to postpone it and do more research. So I'm wondering what's been going on in the meantime that we don't already have this information so that we can vote today. It's obviously important. I kind of thought we had that all settled. I checked.
Okay, thanks, Donna. And then we have Dallas. Dallas was actually on the stack first before Jackie and Sally. So, and Kathy and Lisa just twinkled there, Donna, and so did Sally. Sally, if you're still on the stack, go back to number 1. Dallas, you have the mic. Please, 60 seconds.
All right. Actually, you brought up part of my point. So yes, Oscar Grant Plaza, or whatever the government name is on Ohlone land, and I understand your desire to, heck, Liberty Plaza is on Lenape land. I understand wanting to honor the indigenous tribes, but it seems like we're trying to work with several tribes. There's a lot of First Nations, and if a Lakota elder says, XYZ dates or that, I don't see how that relates to what we want to do with Ohlone or the tribe in Connecticut. I think conflating all these different tribes and all of their different traditions is a mistake off the bat, and that should be taken into account when making this decision. Thank you, Jack.
All right, thanks, Dallas. And Jackie, looks like you're going to have the last comment. Go ahead.
Well, I actually wanted to propose kind of jump off what Gandalf said, your concerns and everybody else's concerns, and say perhaps we can just drop the 7th to 10th if there's a way to do that in the process, and vote for the 31st to the 3rd. Check. Oh, because I think we got to do it tonight. Whatever we do, we got to do it tonight. Check.
All right. So I'm gonna, I want to ask the group, is there anybody who cannot stay past the top of the hour? Because we got in trouble. That decision that was actually made to try to make the 7th was made after the end of the call scheduled time, and we had people drop off. We've only had one person drop off the call so far, and I'd like to, actually it's two, but one of them I know wasn't that interested, and he didn't care which dates they were. He was good with either one. So is there anybody of the 14 of us who cannot stay for another 10 minutes onto this call? Because I'd like to see if we could do it. I'm getting a message that we said we wouldn't have votes after the regular call times, but if all the people who are on the call agree to stay on the call to have that, I think we'll be fine. It's the problem of people who are leaving and then deciding to do it. So I'm getting twinkles from people. If you can stay, if anybody can't stay, press a number 3, and then I'm going to ask the next question. I've got a sequence to do this, which I think we can do this in about 10 minutes. I don't see any 3s, so that looks pretty good. Not everybody's put their hand up, but I don't see any 3s. So it looks like everybody can stay. So the next question is going to be, will you block us moving to make this decision tonight? So if you block this decision, press the number 3 for us to make the decision tonight. Again, I don't see any 3s going up. That's good. All right. So I'm going to just go. Next question is there any other comments that absolutely must be made before we actually put this to a vote? Because I think we've had quite enough discussion, but we've only really talked about one issue. If there's any other concerns or issues that have to be talked about, I'm going to put up a number 1, and I'll give you about 20 seconds to make your comments. Don't see anybody putting their hands up, so this seems to be it. All right, so the voting process is as follows, and Delphine, you weren't here at the beginning of the call when I laid it out. So we're going to take 2 full votes. I know somebody suggested eliminating something, but that will come out in the wash even when we do this. So I'm going to take 2 votes for 2. I'm going to do the process as written. So we're going to take 2 completely separate votes for each date, which means you can vote for more than one date. I want you to listen. I'm going to invite you to listen very carefully, because this is not going to be a straight up-down vote. It's going to be a strength of your convictions vote. So lower numbers mean you have a lower desire to have that date, and a higher number means you have a higher desire. So the numbers go from 1 to 5. They're the same numbers we always use. So if you put a 1 up, that means it's not a good date. If you put a 5 up, it's a great date, and anything in between. So you can put a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5 up for that date, rather than a yes or no. And then we'll do the same thing for the other one, and we'll see which one gets the higher score. All right? So for July 31st through August the 3rd, if you put up a number between 1 and 5, a higher number meaning it's a stronger date for you. A 5 means it's a stronger date for you. A 1 meaning it's the least strong date for you. And anything in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 for July. This is only for July. We're going to do the same thing for the other one. So for July 31st to August the 3rd, put up a number between 1 and 5. 1 being not good and 5 being great. Any number in between. Brother Carter, Carrie, and I got to put mine on here. Brother Carter and Carrie, I don't see numbers from you. I'm just looking for Brother Carter now. If you want to vote, I'm going to put on your mic. Brother Carter, do you want to vote?
Right. No, if I was going to get 20, I was going to give you 20, and then I'll hold you 10. Okay. I got to get gas. That's
Brother Carter?
Yes. Now they're talking.
Do you want to vote on this, or are you too? He's preoccupied. Okay, never mind. I can't get his attention. All right, so here's how it went. So somebody can record these, and we'll do the calculations after we're done. So one person put up a 1. 2 persons put up a 2. I'm sorry, wrong. One person put up a 1. No people put up a 2. 2 people put up a 3. 2 people put up a 4, and 8 people put up a 5. So again, that's 1 1, no 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, and 8 5s. 1, 0, 2, 2, and 8. All right, great. Now we're going to do the same vote again, but for the other set of dates. And so if you, same thing. So for August the 7th through the 10th, again, strength 1 through 5. So 5, it's a great date. 1, it's not a good date. And anything in between for August 7th through 10th. Once again, August 7th through 10th. 1 if it's not a good date, and 5 if it's a great date, and or anything in between, 1 through 5. Need a vote from Jose, and I think we'll be done. All right. So the way this went, I didn't vote myself. Okay. So here's where the votes are. We have 7 people voting 1, 2 people voting 2, 2 people voting 3, 1 person voting 4, and 1 person voting 5. So I don't even need to calculate because they're almost the exact opposite of each other. So the first date got a much stronger count. So again, that's 7 1s, just to get the numbers down. 7 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, 1 4, and 1 5. That's 7, 2, 2, 1, and 1. So I don't even need to calculate the scores because one's like double the other one. All right, so now to make this a consensus process, given that, we're going to do the final vote. So if you align with July 31st to August the 3rd being the dates for the gathering, press the number 2. If you do not align with that set of dates being the date for the gathering, press the number 3. And if you stand aside, press the number 4. Again, if you are aligned with July 31st through August the 3rd being the set of dates for the gathering, press the number 2. If you are not aligned with it or you want to block it, press the number 3. And if you stand aside, press the number 4. So we have, the way this has gone down is 12 people, everybody voted. And Brother Carter, I'm assuming your 4 is not it's a stand aside. Is that right, Brother Carter? And not a person to speak? Okay, great. Because you didn't participate in the other 2 votes. All right. And so we have 12 2s, 1 3, and 1 4. And I would like to open up Donna's mic to hear, is this a not aligned with or a block?
You know, I'm not blocking, but you said that after I voted, or you want to block after I'd already put a 3. I'm not really sure. I'm a bit confused about this process, so I'm going to just stand aside right now.
So I'll just say it again, Donna, because I really would value your participation actively rather than just being confused about the process. If you are aligned with July 31st through August the 3rd, if you're aligned with those being the dates for the gathering, press the number 2. If you are not aligned with those dates being the dates for the gathering, press the number 3, or you object. And if you stand aside, press 4. 2 for alignment, 3 for not alignment. Okay, looks like you're staying with the 3, Donna, so it sounds like you're not aligned, but you're not blocking. Is that correct, Donna?
That is correct.
Okay, good. Do you want to state what your concern or objection is, just because I think for completeness, since you're not blocking?
Yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. I'm just ethically blocking just because I feel like that is a hotter week traditionally. It's going to be a hotter temperature than later on. And I also do feel that from what I know from previous discussions, I felt like that weekend would be better. I do remember hearing through William Underbaggage that before the 7th, it was going to be almost impossible for most First Nations to join us. So we're not really clear on all that. I don't want to make it more confusing, but I don't feel confident in voting with it, knowing that I think it may be excluding people. So that's why I'm just, I prefer the other date. Thank you. I yield.
I understand that. And were it not for at least 2 or 3 people advocating for doing this tonight and being respectful to Occupy Sacramento about the process and everybody else, I would be inclined to wait a week also. Nikki, you have a 5-up.
I just joined the conversation again, so I was curious where we are.
Oh, we just voted, and if you want to weigh in, we just voted on July 31st through August the 3rd being the dates, and basically it's press 2 if you're aligned with that, press 3 if you are not aligned or you object to it, and press 4 if you stand aside. So if you want to vote, it's not too late. And if 2 for yes for the earlier weekend, 3 for not, you object to it or you don't align with it, and 4 for standing aside. All right, great. So it looks like we have a decision, folks. I'm going to just open up everybody's mic for just a second before we go on, just so everybody can shout or groan or sigh or whatever you want to do. Make some noise.
Hey! Got it!
Yay!
Got it. Yeah, I think it was really important to get a decision tonight because we still have that August 7th through 10th date on there, and the more people that see it, the more, it'd be hard to get another date. So I'm glad we came up with
Who's
this
responsible
tonight.
for changing that?
I can change it.
My father just volunteered.
So
Well,
I'm going to shut the mics back off again before we have that conversation, because this could be handled over email or even for the next few minutes. And plus, people who are hanging around want to be able to say goodbye before we can continue the conversation with those who want to be able to do it. So let me shut everybody's mic back off again. All right. So what I want to find out is we have other business to do on the call. I'd like to find out who would like to extend the call. We're not making any more binding decisions like this, but we have other topics to talk about. Who would like to stay on the call for at least another 20 minutes? Press 2 if you'd like to stay. Press 3 if you don't want to stay or you can't. And press 4 if either one works for you. Donna, and you're the only one who hasn't actually weighed in on this. So 2 if you can stay, and 3 if you don't want to or can't. All right, we haven't. So basically, it's 4 people. I actually put myself in there too. I'm going to stand aside as facilitator. We have 4 people who are voting 2, 6 people who are voting 3, and 4 people who are voting 4. So that's not enough to really continue the call proper. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to check out. And then I'm going to ask everybody if you can stay at least through the checkouts. So it's important, in my view, to witness everybody and not to drop off the call as soon as you've checked out, and witness everybody else checking out. And then those people who have to go can go, and those people who want to stay and chat about whatever they want to talk about, I'll just leave the mics open because I have to get on another call in 15 minutes, and I haven't eaten anything. So let's just do checkouts, and then those who want to stay can stay. But again, I request everybody stay until the checkouts are done. So I'm going to go from the top down this time. And the 2 people we lost, by the way, were Tricia and Daniel, who did not participate in the vote. Chaz, you are on. Check out.
Thanks for the great call, everybody. Thanks for facilitating Cal. It's great to hear everybody's voice. And yeah, let's get to work. Let's roll up the sleeves. Check.
All right. And thanks, Chaz, for advocating for doing this tonight. I wouldn't have done it, but I'm glad somebody else who is not the facilitator did. Sally, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad I stayed through this call. It's been difficult, but it was good that we made the decision, and I need to go eat. Check.
All right, thanks. Sally and Jackie, followed by Carrie.
Yep, glad we have the decision. Why is it so hard to make these decisions? But we've got it, and I'll plug along. I got a hold of finance and whatever else. I can't think of it now this week. Talk to you all later. Check.
All right, Jackie. In my experiences, it was only hard to make this decision. Carrie, followed by Jose.
Aloha. Good job, everybody. Thanks for facilitating Cal. Thanks for taking notes. Thanks for your time, everybody. Check.
All righty. Thanks, Carrie. Jose, followed by Donna.
Yes, I would just like to say thank you for the great meeting. I'm finally dipping my toes back into activism, so thank you very much.
All right, and we'll see if we can find you an Occupy. If somebody can actually get him hooked up with either a website or an address for an Occupy in the Chicago area, please press the number 2. Please press the number 1 so I can see that, and I'll put you guys together before the call's over. So hang on, Jose. Donna, followed by Brother Carter.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. I'm really glad we have a date set. I've been contacting a variety of people as to their availability, so hopefully we'll be able to get some good performers and speakers that can come and help make the event really awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. And that reminds me, Donna, we finally got the email group list up for the workshops and speakers and programs working group, and so we'll likely have our first meeting by the next call, or at least we'll be discussing things on a list. So that'll be good. I'm glad to hear all that creative energy. Brother Carter, followed by Kathy. Brother Carter? Are you on mute? Brother Carter. All right, I'm going to come back to you. Kathy, followed by Lisa.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad everything's been decided and glad to move forward. Check.
All right, thank you, Kathy. And now we have Lisa, followed by Gandalf. Lisa?
Oh, this is Lisa. Thanks to everyone for hanging in there on the call and making a decision. I feel like it's a milestone, and now we can really get the gears rolling for making this a reality. I check.
And Gandalf, thank you, Lisa. Gandalf, followed by Delphine. Gandalf?
Yes, I also want to thank you for a masterful job of dealing with a difficult issue, and it shows the Occupy process works. We kind of muddle through and struggle through difficult decisions, but we always seem to come out on the right side, and I'm so glad that we've finally made a decision. We can start publicizing in earnest what we're going to be doing. So good talking to you all. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thank you so much, Gandalf. And now we have Delphine, followed by Dallas. Delphine?
Yes, thank you. Well, I am also really relieved and excited that we now have a date for the gathering, and that it does not conflict with either the full moon or International Day of the World's Indigenous People. I think we picked the better of the two dates that we were looking at, and I know it's not possible to get the ideal date for everyone, but I hope we can move forward together. And as far as fundraising, I know our call is ending, so that we're not going to be able to have a formal sign-up on fundraising, but I just want to put it out there that our fundraising work group has a lot of room to get involvement from folks around the country, and you are welcome to get in touch with me, delphine.brody@gmail.com, Delphine Brody on Facebook, and I will get you involved in our work. I think we need to set up like an email list to get the ball rolling on this. We have 3 members from Occupy Sacramento, and to my knowledge, none yet from outside of Sacramento, but our work is cut out for us, and we definitely should get started soon on that, and we can talk about things when we schedule our first call, but none is scheduled yet. Yeah.
Okay, great. And if that's a working group, Delphine, you can contact Jackie to get a list and a call series set up, Jackie@interoccupy.net. And also, if you would post something to the main NatGat the NG 2014 list announcing that. Lisa did mention it, or I think it was Lisa who mentioned it, or somebody mentioned it during one of the report backs near the beginning of the call. So this is the second mention of it. So if you could put it out on the list and get a thread going, that would probably be good on the main list, and how to get people moved over to the subgroup. That would be good. Dallas followed by Lou. Dallas?
Hey, great call, everybody. Yeah, as you know, somebody who's really been looking forward to being able to promote this on Wave Vaccine Day. I'm really glad we finally came to a decision. Also, since part of the spirit of this checkout is to talk about what we're doing going forward. Media folks, I understand this Facebook party is actually going to happen soon. Anybody who's not a Rebel Mouse admin and wants to be, let me know, because everything you guys are doing on Facebook, I can bridge over to Twitter using Rebel Mouse. So let's coordinate. But we can do that offline. Thanks. Check.
All right. Thanks, Dallas. And next we have Lou, followed by me. Go ahead, Lou.
Yes, great. Glad that we finally made a decision. I've been waiting for this for the last 2 months. I think now we've got it. We can go out and know when to inform people and put people together and make a really great gathering this year. Check.
All right, thanks, Lou. And before I check out, Delphine, Jackie has added you to the Finance Working Group email discussion list, and also she's asking you to send her to Jackie@interoccupy.net the other 2 emails. So if you twinkle to acknowledge that would be great, Delphine. And while you're doing that, I will check out. So it's been an honor to do this. I actually expressly signed up to do this call because I knew this was going to be a difficult process. I would have had to do it again next week, and we would have had to ramp up the machine with a potentially different set of people. Who knows? And I would have done it if that's what the group had decided to do. But I was glad that we actually pressed forward and did it in the clinch. And I hope the process was clean. As much as I can. Donna, thank you for pointing out where we got off track. I appreciate that. And Jackie, Delphine twinkled in acknowledgement of what you asked. So I will see you all soon, probably next week. And we have a lot of agenda to get through, so I might facilitate another call just to get the agenda whittled down, and then turn it over to whoever was next in line again. So maybe I'll just do 2 in a row. Anyway, I'm going to turn on everybody's mic in a second, and you can all shout, hey, and then those who want to stick around can stick around. The call will probably be active for at least another 40 minutes and maybe another hour and 40 minutes. So you can continue the call if you want to or whatever. So I'm going to open everybody's mics now, and then when I ring the bell, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll be out of here. But I'll leave the call open. And now everybody's mic's open. So, hey.
All right. Hey, goodbye, everybody. Cal, I will see you in more than 9 minutes. I'm not going to make it that soon. Bye. Bye, everybody. It's glad we did this. It worked well. Bye.
Good work. Occupy. Occupy. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Hey, Carrie, can you change? How do we change the event date on the Occupy National Gathering page?